There was a man who stood the way, and the pressure of the rent. I can't remember the song. I can't remember the song. But it sounds. I did the first part is really good.
That's how we'll start the podcast.
That's good, yeah. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Creative Businessmen. On today's episode, we sat down with comedian Nik Cartwright. He's a great dude, a really funny comic, up-and-coming guy in Chicago. He just recently opened for Dan Soder. We had an awesome conversation, a lot of fun. I think you guys really enjoy it. We did. If you do enjoy the show, be sure to like and subscribe. We really appreciate your support. And here you go.
I love that name, too, The Creative Businessman. It does sound like something like a drug dealer would say.
The views expressed on The Creative Businessman may not be the actual views of The Creative Businessman.
I'm going through caffeine withdrawals at the moment, and may have sleep deprivation and
Busy man. Nick's actually Nick's a watcher of the podcast. He interacts in the comments. And
Oh,
all that
yeah.
stuff. He's got his own podcast called "Fuck You, Dad."
Which is a really good podcast, too, by the way.
Thank you.
how's your dad feel about it?
He's coming around.
Oh yeah.
Once I showed him our Patreon, which we're not cooking yet. We get $50 a month for our Patreon. He was slightly impressed by that. That people were. He goes, people really pay to listen to you shites talk about me. I was like, yeah, some do. 10 people.
Oh, your dad's British, right?
Yes, yeah. He has a British accent and stuff. People think it's cool, but it's not. It's lame.
Yeah. Do you just by choice not have a British accent?
No, if it was my choice, I would for sure have one. You know, I wouldn't sound like it. I don't. That's why I think I sound like nobody. Like I sound like a Midwestern newscaster. Like I have no. It's because I grew up with a British accent, and my mom is from Connecticut. So she does like the dog and the coffee kind of thing. So I was like, I can't speak like that. I learned how to talk from TV. I just listened to how people like talked on TV, and that's why I talk like this.
You're from Milwaukee, is that right?
Minneapolis. Just outside.
Yeah.
A little suburb called Plymouth.
Well, you don't have the Minnesota accent either.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's really strange.
You have
right?
a very neutral Midwestern type accent.
Yeah. I'm glad that I didn't pop out with that, though.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. That accent's kind of brutal.
Yes.
I didn't even hear it until I left. I moved here.
Don't you know?
Yeah, a lot of. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
My girlfriend has a little bit of it, especially when she gets drunk. She goes like, "Stop!" She does like the AAHHP. Stop. No.
Very Canadian sounding.
Yeah, it's very close. I've never been to Canada. I've always wanted to go.
Canada's cool.
My buddies used to. They were I had friends who were like seniors in high school and stuff when I was a freshman, and they would drive to Winnipeg because you could drink when you were when you're 18.
Oh.
And so that was like a huge thing. Like they'd rent a cheap motel room, save all the money you can, and then just get blasted in Winnipeg. I'm sure people in Winnipeg loved it. You know,
I'm
like,
sure, yeah.
oh, here are those 18-year-old American kids getting like puking all over the floor and stuff.
Well, that's good for the economy, though. They're buying alcohol.
Absolutely.
Yeah. See, where I was growing up, we just went and bought our alcohol from the local spot.
Yeah.
And the ones of us that looked old enough with beards, and they knew, but they just let us do it anyway, and then we went and drank.
Well, where did you grow up?
Well, when I was 18, I was in Asheboro, North Carolina.
Asheboro.
Same
Okay.
place I grew up.
Yeah, and
Gotcha.
Asheboro's a dry county, so we drove. At the time it was a dry county, so we would drive to Randleman.
How far is that?
15 minutes.
Oh,
10
okay.
minutes.
Whatever.
I'm not going to say where we drove in Randleman because the business is still open, but but we were well taken care of.
That's
Yeah.
always nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't much of a drinker when I was 18. I think that was another thing that, because my dad didn't care. My dad wanted me to drink when I was 16, and it just made it seem like it's not as cool. you
Actually,
know?
I mean, I've had one drink since Thanksgiving. Like, I'm not really a drinker. It's kind of funny. Like, I think more people drink when they can't drink just because the appeal of it's something they can't do.
Yeah.
You know, so it's some people never get out of that cycle, but
Yeah.
you know.
I was more. I tried smoking weed before I really tried.
Yeah, I prefer
Drinking.
weed 10 to 1.
better for you than
100 to
alcohol,
1, actually. Yeah.
It's a lot better on your body.
Yeah.
I'm not a big drinker
smells
either.
great, too.
You're not a big drinker either?
No.
Does your girlfriend smoke?
She occasionally.
So have you ever come home and she's just finished smoking and like maybe you kiss her cheek or her neck and she tastes like weed?
No, I've never had that experience because she doesn't smoke without me. It's always like she'll come to me and ask for weed, and then we'll smoke together and watch something.
You need to set it up. You need to tell her today when you're on the way home. You need to tell her, and that way you can taste the weed on her skin.
That's crazy.
Yeah, well, you got to try it out.
I'll ask her to do that. She'll just look at me like, "How much have you smoked today?" That you're saying.
Why are you asking me that?
Yeah. Why do you want me to
that-
taste like weed?
You need to tell her that Mr. Business has got sometimes has great ideas.
We're going to start a segment of the podcast where it's Mr. Business's relationship advice.
Okay.
Some of it you should definitely ignore, and some of it is me preparing for my open mic nights.
Oh, do you do comedy as well?
No.
Oh, okay.
no.
Okay.
I'm jokingly threatening to go torture everybody at Idiot Box one Thursday night eventually, but
I have a really good friend of mine. We've been friends since elementary school. And he now is like asking me to like, can you bring me to an open mic, man? I have this really good bit. And he's done it to me multiple times. And I've tried my best to just like straight face it the whole time so that he loses confidence in it and doesn't want to go. But it hasn't worked. And
Have you just told him it's not good?
yeah, I've tried that. And
Okay.
he goes, no. But if I'm on stage though.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
was like, nah.
Let's
But
make it worse.
yeah, it's going to make it so much worse. But part of me is like, he'll do it once. And then, he'll never do it again. But I'm scared he's going to start liking it. And then I can't have that. I'm the comedian in the friend group. That's
Oh,
me.
you can't.
There's no
You
two.
can't comic block your friends though.
He's fine, though. He's doing his own thing. He doesn't need it.
Is
I
he
don't know.
funny? Is he a funny guy?
Yeah, he is. He's funny enough, I guess.
In the group chat, he's fine.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that he's not a smart guy, but it's just like I
is he going to watch this podcast, you think?
probably.
We
Look
should
right
chat.
into that camera and
Yeah.
tell him to
Tell him what
fucking
you-
knock it off.
Yo,
Yeah.
Anthony, it's not happening, bro.
Yeah.
Hey,
That's not
Anthony,
happening.
pursue your dreams, man.
Nick, how old are you?
27.
27. That means we've known each other 6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I met, like the first time we ever hung out was Nick's 21st birthday.
Oh.
He was a lunatic. I found him on the side of the street.
That's not where you found me. We were hanging out before that. Don't make it sound like I was just decrepit.
What, you
Homeless.
worked? 21st birthday, he's
I-
out of his mind celebrating. Like you were literally sitting on the curb outside of
Well,
Longshanks.
here's the thing is, when I had just started comedy, I had no friends here. And so it was my 21st birthday. I was like, I can't just sit at my parents' place. Like, I have to go have fun. And there was the open mic, which I had been going to anyway. So I was like, I'm just going to get especially drunk before this open mic. Like, I had never done comedy drunk before. And I think Trundy put me on last and let me go. Just kind of like didn't give me the light. And I started talking about crazy. I started talking about like wanting to kill myself, like crazy shit. And it wasn't bombing, but it wasn't crushed. It was okay. But I did like something like 10 minutes, 12 minutes, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing comedy for 2 months. So I was just ecstatic that I did that.
Yeah, that's
You know what I'm
awesome. Yeah.
saying? Like that I didn't, crush under the like pressure that you feel at 2 months.
Right, yeah.
Feels like you're underwater. And I was
And
like,
I used to, I wouldn't light people because I wanted to see how long they would stay up there. You know what I mean?
I
And-
kind of like that.
Yeah, well, it's like kind of trial by fire, right? Like, how
Yeah.
long do you think you're going to be good up there, and then do they get off at the right time and all that, and then if it's somebody's birthday or something, like let them have an experience. So yeah, he did 10, 12 minutes. It was pretty decent. It wasn't horrible, especially for 2 months in.
yeah, I mean, I remember just being like, just no filter. And you go to like crazy places when that happens.
Yeah, you get a little desperate because you have
Yeah.
4 minutes to talk about, and then you got to fill all that other time.
It is.
Yeah.
It is desperate, and then you just search
Adrenaline
inside of
starts-
you, like, what could possibly be interesting about me that I could say to these people? So,
But you probably can settle in too, right?
Yeah, and he did.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple people who have settled in, and then there's been a couple people who just had breakdowns. Like both of those are valuable pieces of
Right.
information.
Yeah.
and the breakdown sometimes can get laughs, so it's not like it's debilitating.
He slept on my couch that day because I felt like I couldn't leave him downtown. Something bad was going to happen to him.
Well, I knew I didn't want to drive home yet. And so I just...
You didn't know that. You didn't know that.
No, that's why I was sitting down, though.
No, you were sitting down because you couldn't walk.
Well,
And if you could have walked, you would have made it to your car. You would have drove home. It would have been a nightmare.
Yeah.
no, I disagree. I don't think I would have drove. I've never driven when I was that
Dude, you
hammered.
just told the story last night about a time we killed a whole bottle of whiskey.
Okay, that yes, yeah, that was bad. That was bad. But that was the sun was out. I feel like you can't get caught when the sun's out. No one gets pulled over for a DUI at like 3 p.m.
Wrong.
True alcoholics do. Yeah.
That's
We had a
wrong.
guy sitting in one of those chairs telling us about the multiple DUIs and
I think that was me.
yeah.
I think it was me.
I think it was Dusty.
I distinctly remember something about some. We had to edit it out about a local officer
He
and
said
some,
the guy's name.
yeah.
Shit.
and some fellatio that was being performed or
You know Dusty.
Yes, yeah.
Dusty doing Dusty stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah, I got you.
That's funny.
Same officer, I think. What,
So
3
how
times?
long?
Yeah.
How long after you started comedy here did you move to Chicago?
I was here 4 years, and then I moved to Chicago with a lady.
Not your current girlfriend.
Not my girlfriend. No.
Gotcha.
Because we moved into a studio apartment together after dating for 4 months.
Ah.
So I got some concerned looks from the adults in my life.
That's not
but
unreasonable.
it's not unreasonable, but I don't think anybody was like, sounds great. Like, no one was really giving me the...
Well,
If you
stamp.
got married, maybe.
Yeah.
No, well, I do that. But I think the concerned looks were about one of the things, right? Like, you were doing 3 dumb things all at once.
Yes, that's
it
what
like,
it was.
Hey, I'm going to move to Chicago and I got no job. B, I'm going to move into a studio apartment with a woman I've only been dating a little while.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to Chicago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like,
And I want to be a comedian.
Yeah,
that was
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of the other
To
one.
me, that all sounds like the ingredients to be successful, though.
you're right. But it's also the ingredients for a crazy life. You know what I mean?
And possibly big failure. But
Yeah.
But it's okay because it's still the right attitude. I
I
think.
mean, it felt good, too.
The older you get, the less opportunities you have to be able to do that and not
Right.
pay a consequence.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean,
And-
you can still do it when you're older, just have less recovery time.
and you might lose a lot more too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
What?
And apparently it's worked out well because he lost the lady friend that wasn't the right one.
Absolutely.
So that was a positive thing.
And you're still in Chicago doing comedy.
Yes. Yeah.
Ah.
And I have a good job that pays me some money. And everything turned out good, but the time period of like starting over completely felt good in some aspects of my life. Like I liked being like free to choose something that I wanted to do to try to make some money. But starting over in comedy was like impossible. Like that felt. And I tried my best when I left North Carolina. Like I knew I was like you do shows here and you're doing okay, but it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard work. Like I was trying to prepare myself, but it's still fucking like decimated my whole outlook and stuff because it was just you don't realize how like precious comedy is until you have to like try all the way over again I have to go to these bad open mics, and then I have to make new friends who do other things, who help me meet people. And at first I was like, no, I just do my 10 minutes, and people are going to love it, obviously. They're going to kiss my feet. They're going to be like, oh, my God, this guy from North Carolina, he's amazing. And I'll get on all the shows, and then we'll meet all the managers, and everything will be cool. But it was like, no, everyone treats you like you just started because that's what they think you
they
are.
don't know you.
Yeah, they don't know who you are. And your jokes that are okay are going to look even worse because they think that you just started, you know?
Yeah.
So it took me a long time for my mental headspace with comedy. I got so frustrated. I was like angry at everybody because I was like, they don't understand. I'm good. And they don't put me on these shows. And I needed all that to like melt. And it took a long time. But
How long did it take to start getting traction up there? It didn't take you that long because it hasn't been that long.
I'm still not where I want to be, but like it probably took 2 years for people to start, you know, like it took me that long to meet everybody essentially.
Right.
Like and that's too long. That's because I'm bad at that.
Where are you now with that? How are you feeling about it? And like, what are the things you're doing? You got some cool stuff coming up.
I got some. Well, what I want to do is start producing a show. I realize how important that is to produce a comedy show, to meet comedians, and I know a lot of comedians from out of state who are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Some big acts. So like when they come into town, that would be the shit to be like, yo, come do a guest spot or come do a spot on my show.
Right.
We're buddies, and that's a great way to like keep connections, which it's all about.
Sure.
The only part of it is I want to have the right show, and to have the right show, you got to have the right room, and that's so hard for me because
I'm sure it's expensive in Chicago too.
It's expensive, and I'm not cool enough I don't know where the cool rooms are. You know, you can't Google where are the cool rooms. That doesn't bring up anything. You know, where are like dark, dingy basements but have a liquor license and.
There should be a lot of those up there, though.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's very cool performance spaces all over the city, and they all have, you know.
Wasn't Chicago like the head of the? I mean, they were kind of leading the way in Prohibition, right? I mean, they've got a lot of those underground.
Oh, probably
rooms.
The speakeasies and shit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I think the problem you end up running into is the space has to be good.
Yeah.
The ownership has to be good. And the people you're working with have to be good. It's a lot of intangibles, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That all mixed up. Anytime you go to a comedy show and it's really good, it's like 1,000 things had to be right for that to happen.
If you could find like a really good underground bar that is slow a couple days a week and they need some traffic on those days.
They got to be cool.
Yeah,
you know
they have to be cool.
And
Yeah.
their patrons got to be cool. It's a whole thing, man. It's just.
And I did have a really cool show. I started one. This was in 2019 at a place called the Cubby Bear. It's right across the street from Wrigley Field. It's like this legendary punk rock venue.
Nice.
And I was like, this is fucking awesome. They were paying me a lot of money to do the show. But it was on a Wednesday night, and it was in an area that I thought was a ton of foot traffic, but it's not.
Only during games?
Only during games. Otherwise,
Yeah.
everyone's like, I don't want to be anywhere near that place,
Right.
you know?
No.
So it was just tough to get people in the door, and then I didn't know anybody back then. I didn't know enough comedians in Chicago that anybody would even, like, all my Facebook messages were being tucked away in some other inbox to all these people. So,
Well, now you have a good podcast, so you should be able to promote stuff like that.
oh,
much better.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, I have a good foothold in like being able to move tickets and stuff, and I know I have the work ethic because I get so upset with I know friends who produce shows and they have great ideas. They go, I want a partnership with the restaurant next door, and then we'll do like a brunch show. And I go, yeah, that sounds like an awesome idea, man. Get the ball rolling on that. And then they go, well, then I gotta go there and I gotta talk to They're like scared of the first step. It drives me so fucking crazy because it's like
talking yourself out of it.
yeah, because then they're like, well, then I don't know if the club would be down with that. I had to talk to Mark about that. It's like, well, it's so easy to get started. I mean, I've had some recently. I actually got hired by a YouTuber. He's a professional poker player, Ryan DePaulo. He's like my buddy now. We've talked on the phone for a long time, and then he ended up hiring me, editing some TikToks and reels for him. And I went from just being like a super fan, essentially, like I watched all of his videos during the quarantine of him like playing poker and stuff, to like his buddy just by sending him an email. That's how it started. I sent him an email about being on my podcast, and he responded, and he was like, sure, that sounds great. And then from then we became friends, and now I work with him creating content for the channel I used to be super duper I still am super into.
Oh, that's cool.
That's
Wow.
awesome.
So it's like all that has to happen is that first step, and cool things can happen.
Yeah, you have to network with people.
Yeah, and it's frustrating when I see people who I respect and who are hilarious. You know, that's not the issue. It's
I'm
just
sitting right here, Nick. I'm right here.
No, you've been taking. You take too many first steps.
Well,
That's
you always have to. You have to ask too. Like you have to. You always have to ask. The worst thing that can happen is they just say no.
is they say no.
And, and with anything, it's networking. It takes multiple people to do anything. Like there's a thing about there's not one human on the planet who can make a pencil. Just a basic pencil, a number 2 pencil.
Really? That surprises me.
Because you have to have chemists, and you have to have designers, and you have to have people that
okay,
make the eraser, people that make the paint that goes on the pencil, people that cut the wood up and know how to mold wood around lead and all this. There's so many different components in that pencil, and so no one human can do a lot on their own. But so collectively, though, we do really impressive things. And that's why you have to network with people.
I'll tell you, I hear that, and I'm like, I could make a fucking pencil.
I know. So there's this thing in life, like you talk about, like dream killers and people that
Let's go to the bathroom.
you almost wonder for a second, like these friends that you have that they have these great ideas but they don't execute. Is it them, the fearful of execution or fearful of what the steps take, or do they have people in their inner circle that are kind of dream killers, right? They're people that are always looking for the negative, right? And I'm not saying you should surround yourself with yes men. You don't want somebody to always agree.
Yeah.
But at the same point, is the person that comes up with the negative of your solution, the negative point or the negative outcome to your solution, the one that's trying to poke holes in everything you do, and that's all they do, is that person in your inner circle, and is that person the reason, a contributing factor to why you're not executing, right? So you start to really dive into it. And I feel like fear is part of it. Fear of rejection, but also fear of success, because people start to play it out. Well, if this happens, then I've got this commitment that I actually have to follow through with and do, right? So
and
if
sometimes it's yourself.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, so it may be other people in their environment. It may be yourself. You're beating yourself up.
It could be just your parents
100%.
in your head or people from your past.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yeah, and when Neil's talking about making a pencil, I can make a fucking pencil.
You know
I'm
what I mean?
telling
I think I can make a pencil.
I got a toothpick right there. We can figure this out. Yeah. Which comes to the other point I was going to make, is that sometimes in life I feel like you have multiple types of people, but there's 2 things that are clear. Some people, when you apply pressure, they push back naturally, right? Like when you tell me I can't do something, I immediately try to figure out the ways I can, right? And this can be a positive trait. Yeah. It can also be a negative one, right? Whereas if you try to walk with people down a path, instead of pushing against you, they walk with you. So sometimes it's delivery of whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. And so when Neil says, his point is that working together, we can accomplish a whole lot of things. And it's very rare to have somebody that can do everything perfectly.
Yeah.
So, if we can all work in unison, we can accomplish great things. I get that. But the other side of that is I still feel like I've been challenged a little bit. So let's make a fucking pencil.
Yeah.
But you got to make your own. I'm going to make my own.
And I think, I don't know if this counts against his theory, but, can we share information about how my pencil
I'm just thinking, like, as a kid, I used all kinds of things as a pencil.
Me too. Yeah.
There's shit outside that I can use. Like, my pencil may not look like your pencil or the pencil he's buying at the store, but I can make this happen.
Might be a bad pencil. But
Piss in the snow is technically a pencil.
This is true.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering. And, does it count? Is it a pencil? Like, if I take this metal can and I make it jagged enough so I can carve into this table, that technically works.
I guess. It's kind of a shank more of a pencil.
That's true. That's true.
So with tell us about the podcast, man.
Oh, hell yeah.
The Fuck Your Dad one, right?
Yeah, my podcast.
How did it start?
Fuck You Dad.
What's it doing?
So me and my buddy Kenyon and Adam Chick,
who's been a guest on the show.
Yeah. I'm going to subscribe to you right now. Keep talking.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
On YouTube, right?
YouTube, yeah.
It'll be F You Dad.
F You Dad.
F You Dad podcast, yeah. I think even if you type in Fuck You Dad podcast, we should come up. Yeah. So me and my buddy Kenyon, we had tried to do a podcast so many times. Like, we had all the equipment and we sat down and we were like, we'll think of the name later or whatever. And after like our 3rd recording session, we were kind of frustrated. We just kind of went to the bar that we hung out at, and he was telling a story about his dad currently at the time. And I thought of a story when he was telling a story, and then I swapped a dad's story. and it both clicked on it. We were like, oh, this should be the podcast because this is something that we could talk about, and it's an angle. We just wanted some sort of angle,
And everybody's got an interest in dad.
Yes, yeah, and we found that it's so good to talk to comedians about their dads because even if there's somebody who's like, well, I love my dad, he's very supportive. That's also a cool conversation. We like having those conversations too, but we thought it would be funny to call it "Fuck You, Dad" because that's what we were both yelling at the bar at the time.
Yeah.
So we started. It was just the two of us, and it was good for like 8 weeks. We felt really good about it. And then we just started, we're like, man, we're only in our 20s. We just ran out of stories. So we started bringing guests on, and then that's when the, like, of course moment happened. Is like, we need the guest is like it just tied the whole podcast together, really made it flow. And we keep them short. They're like, we like to say it's like a sitcom of a podcast because it's just like 30 minutes.
Okay.
And I found that a lot of people were messaging me about the podcast saying that they enjoyed it and that they were like, I just listened to like 6 episodes. Like people would binge the episodes.
Oh, that's good.
And I think people like that. They like that feeling of like completing,
Right.
watching something, like binging it like that. So
You've had some pretty big name guests on your show too.
yeah, me and Kenyon we were lucky enough to work with some really cool people in North Carolina when we started comedy. So that was another one of those like first step things. For a while, me and Kenyon were like, yeah, it'd be cool to get like Dan Soder because I had worked with him and Mark Normand because we knew him from North Carolina. It would be cool to get them on the podcast, but that's I mean, how are we going to do that? And I was like, send them an Instagram message.
Yeah.
That's all it took, And then they were like, of course, yeah, I remember you from North. Yeah, I'll do your podcast. Especially when the pandemic happened, like nobody was really doing anything.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, and they ended up being awesome episodes and really helped our numbers. It also helped mean people on YouTube comment about our podcast. That was pretty cool. Somebody said I have lowercase teeth and uppercase gums. It's really good. That really hits me in an insecurity I have. YouTube's really good at that.
Yeah. I stand by what I said.
Yeah. That's what TCB Tiger is. Oh, it all makes sense now.
What are the as you look back on the podcast, what are the episodes that are doing the best out there? If somebody was going to hop in on a first episode, which one is it?
I really like. So honestly, if you look for, it's called the Holiday Special. Is the one me and Kenyon. It's just me and Kenyon in my apartment, but we both talk about like the past Christmas that just happened, and he has some really funny stories because his dad just encountered a lot of money from an insurance claim on his car, and he's really spending it like a maniac.
But also, his dad
he's schizophrenic.
Kenyon's dad is
he's got
schizophrenic.
mental problems.
His
sure.
mom is deaf.
Yeah,
and so he's got a super interest in life. And
very
there's
interesting.
A lot of stories there.
He's also. I need like a sound engineering degree to handle the levels on his microphone because his mom is deaf. So his regular speaking voice is shouting.
He's loud. Yeah.
And then he'll sometimes. If he's been drinking especially, he'll like mumble. He'll go to a mumble and then he'll scream something. And I'm like, dude, we got to get somebody in here like Seth, dude. We got to get somebody with glasses in here to handle your microphone.
We had Kenyon on the show, and his voice projects so well.
Yeah.
The audio is messed up on that episode.
Yeah. Oh, is it? Yeah. That's why, I mean, he's got that booming voice.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
He does well in a comedy club. Yeah.
It's so fun to watch him really crush because he doesn't need a microphone.
Right.
And like the room gets louder and he'll get louder. Yeah. It's so awesome.
That's cool.
But yeah, it's been really fun doing a podcast with my buddy. We are doing, I don't know when this will come out, but we're doing like these co-headlining kind of spots.
Yeah.
And we're doing one weekend in March, I think March like 12th. We're in Iowa City, March 12th and 13th.
What's the club?
Joystick, it's called.
Okay.
It's like this basement bar, and it's attached to like 3 other bars, like the basement. Like there's 3 different stairwells.
Oh, that's cool.
It's very cool. We were there a couple weeks ago, and they did karaoke after a comedy show, and I tore my throat up shouting this Lifehouse song. I'm trying to remember what it was called. I can't remember what it was. Are you guys karaoke people? You don't strike me as karaoke people.
I've done it before. Sometimes.
I sing in the shower and in the car.
Those are good places.
Yeah.
So you're ready.
I'm ready.
You've
Karaoke's
open mic.
next. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
well, no, open mic's not there yet, but maybe that's what I do. Maybe I karaoke at the open mic. Maybe that's my my shtick. Huh?
Oh, people would love that.
I think so. But see, my goal is I'm not like your friend that wants to go in there and crush. I just want to go in there and just crash and burn.
Yeah.
But in an epic manner.
There you go.
And just love every moment of it. I think that's the way to do it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, the Idiot Box mic is, I'm so excited for it tomorrow. I've never been more excited for an open mic. I've heard awesome things
Oh,
about
so you're going to
it.
be there tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
Let me check my calendar. I may have to definitely go now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
come on.
what happens if we have 2 legends perform the same night? You know?
I remember we were talking about this earlier. I was trying to think of, because we were talking about when you first start, you kind of do some fringe stuff. Like, I'm sure, you were that way, right? You did kind of like some wacky stuff at the beginning.
Not a whole lot, but I'm older too, so I think. Did I have any?
Nope.
Not really.
He's pretty cut and dry. He knows what he's trying to do, and
Yeah.
You didn't bring golf clubs?
No.
That was somebody else?
that's somebody else.
Oh, okay.
That's little Steven.
I'm not a prop guy.
Okay.
Have you seen the bit where he takes his leg off and throws it at the crowd?
No.
It's a good one. I haven't done it yet.
I've actually had legs thrown at me, so it is a solid bit.
That'd be a really cool way to kick somebody in the face.
It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
I tried to keep that leg. They wouldn't let me keep it. I said, he threw it at me. It should be mine now.
Yeah, it's like a guitar pick.
Yeah.
It's an expensive guitar pick.
Yeah. So I think the fringiest thing I did, I don't know if that's the right word, but I tried to do a yoga pose in a bit. The whole bit was like, I heard on NPR that yoga is supposed to help out with stress, and I get the most stressed out when I'm trying to flirt with a girl. So I was trying to hit on this girl at a bar last night, and I got down on my. So that's what I said. I was hitting on this girl last night, and then I got down in like a cobra pose, and then I was like, "So what does your mom do?" And it's just bombing, and I'm on the floor like waiting for everybody to be like, "This is fucking genius, isn't it?" And to have an act that dramatic of an act out bomb is the worst, because then you just kind of have to. Like they hear you like grunt and like get up off the ground, and they're like, okay, well,
Having to get up off the ground after a bit didn't work is specifically difficult.
it's really tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that was when I learned my lesson. There was that one time I tried a character. I wore a hat and a coat, and I went up as like Fargo Dan or something. And I was like, you guys can't, because it snowed in North Carolina, and I was like, you guys don't know how to handle the snow over here, huh? And then I was like, that's my big line. And everyone was like, what the fuck is he doing right now? Why is he doing this?
It worked that night the way it just worked now.
Yeah, exactly.
So I saw a guy in New York at an open mic doing he actually laid out a yoga mat.
Oh, really?
He did yoga through his whole set. It didn't go well.
I don't imagine it going well.
That's funny.
I still have not done comedy in New York. I have several people who said that they would put me on stuff. I just got to make it out there.
Are you a Chicago lifer now? What's the plan going forward if you get what you want?
If I get what I want, yeah, I could see myself like what. Yeah, I could see myself staying there. It kind of depends on the lady right now. She's doing. She's a floral designer, so. And she's doing really well in Chicago. But I think she kind of wants to move to like a warmer climate where she can grow crazy, deal with cooler plants and stuff. But
Atlanta or somewhere maybe.
Yeah.
Charlotte, maybe. Charlotte's right there.
Yeah.
Charlotte, maybe.
Charlotte's got a good. People get married there all the time.
I think Atlanta's probably better for what he's doing.
Nah, we'll get him to Charlotte.
You should come to north of Charlotte. You know, the north end of Charlotte, somewhere in Charlotte. Like, I'm on the lake there. Maybe you guys get married at one of my lake houses.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is. Now we're talking about getting married. That's
I usually
pretty cool.
charge like I'm thinking about charging like $20,000 for the event for the weekend, but for you,
25.
yeah, maybe 25.
25
Maybe
G's.
she brings me some. Maybe she does my garden for me.
Oh, now she would love to do that.
Because we kill Jessica, I should say, because I don't really do it. Just kills every plant.
Oh my
all
gosh.
of them. They're all dead. She does a great job raising kids. Terrible job taking care of plants.
So I assume that you have a comfortable property.
I'm not sure what that means.
Like
It's yes. The answer is yes. It's a big place.
It's a big place.
I got some small ones too.
Okay.
Yeah, you want
No.
you want like a 9,500 square foot, or you want a 2,000 square
So
foot? We do both. Everywhere in between.
My girlfriend does really like elite like design and stuff.
Oh.
So she would love to take a look at your thing and maybe design a planter or two for your
in Chicago.
for your doorway.
What are the big jobs she's had in Chicago?
She has. I don't even know if I'm supposed to say this.
Oh yeah, don't say it then. Go ahead and tell us.
Well, okay. I'll.
You can say what
I'll
type
say.
of
I'll,
business
yeah.
it is.
I'll use a code. She has shoveled the most famous Chicago person you could think of's driveway, but he's from here.
Obama.
No, not that. No, different kind of famous.
Dan Aykroyd.
The most famous North Carolinian who moved to Chicago.
And we're not talking about you, right?
No, definitely not. This man's done way better than I have or ever will be.
Now you got me curious. Don't tell the name, but now I'm gonna have to sit here.
Okay.
I've been doing these Wordles lately. Have you ever heard of Wordle?
Oh yeah. I've been crushing work.
Yeah, me too, man. I
Did
feel
you get
like
today?
Oh yeah.
What'd you get today in?
Oh, I'm not gonna tell you the answer.
No.
Oh, yeah.
I got it in 4
Let
today.
me show
I was
you.
pretty impressed with myself.
I think I got a 4, and this one almost stumped me today. Actually,
You
this
guys,
is exhilarating stuff,
you also have a gambling tie.
bro. You beat me today. I did it in 5.
Oh, nice.
Normally I'm 3 or 4. This one got me today. It threw me off.
No,
I'm at 100% streak though for an extended period of time, so that's good. But
when it's a naughty-ish word, I'm pretty good with it. You know?
you should see some of my picks.
The first 3 are just for fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the first one's always for fun for me. I'm not gonna lie to you. I use the word penis quite a bit.
Hey, that's not bad though. It's got a broad spectrum.
that's
You
what-
know,
that's
it's
what I'm
got some
saying.
vowels in it.
Yeah.
There's some other p words it won't let you use. It says it's not a word. I beg to differ,
Yeah.
but you know, it says it's not in the dictionary.
Which word? Because pussy's got to be in the dictionary.
It's what I'm saying. It doesn't show up. Try it.
Damn.
It's not
Try
in
it.
their dictionary.
Try it.
That's making me into a feminist, dude.
Yeah.
Put pussy in the dictionary.
Put it in the Wordle. Like, what's up with that? Penis is in there, but pussy's not. Like, what's up with that?
Yeah, fuck the dictionary. Put it in the word.
Yeah. Try it and see.
Are you a gambler?
Yes.
What do you play?
And we'll just leave it as a yes. I don't think it's gambling, honestly,
Okay.
because it's math.
Right.
And it's probability and
I say the
statistical
same
analysis.
thing.
But
My girlfriend asks me all the time, "Are you gambling right now?" And I'm like, "No, I'm playing poker." Okay,
Yeah,
I'm not gambling.
like, I mean, it'd be like, is it a gamble? Are we taking a risk? Like, if I get up and swing a baseball bat and a pitcher throws a ball at 100 miles an hour and I swing, I've developed my skill to such a point that I'm going to hit it 350 out of every 1,000 at bats, right? Out of every 1,000 swings, and now I'm a Major League Baseball player. That's a skill.
Yeah.
Right. But you could also make the argument that he's gambling, that he's actually going to hit it.
Because
But
you're
you
going
know,
to miss 75% of the time.
yeah, exactly. So
Or 65%.
65. But
Yeah.
That's
you know,
the best
and-
fucking analogy I've ever heard for gambling in my life.
well, and gambling's more. I have a higher ratio than that. So from when it comes to Texas Hold'em or blackjack, my win ratio is higher than any Major League Baseball player. I have a higher win ratio than any NBA basketball shooter. So, like, for me, I'm one of the most skillful guys out there. So I don't consider it gambling. The way that I go about, the way that I play these things.
where
But
do you go play blackjack in North Carolina?
I'm not a huge fan of playing in North Carolina. But if I do,
Okay. I was.
but I can go to Cherokee and that's fine. But I don't know if you know, they've got card games now in Cherokee at Harrah's.
Oh, I've never been.
But I typically
go
go
to
to Vegas. I go to Vegas quite a bit.
Oh hell yeah.
So we have a lot of companies, we have corporations, we have companies we consult for out there. So I'm in Vegas regularly.
I love.
And
Las
then
Vegas, man.
there's lots of, just like, without incriminating anybody, there are a tremendous amount of underground games in every state that doesn't offer a legitimate way to do it.
It's so insane to me.
It is.
that
It's absolutely ridiculous. And
you
I've
can
got
you can go buy a fucking machine gun, but you can't have a bet on a sports game.
I was at a game
insane.
2 weeks ago with a judge, sheriff's deputy, and a couple of attorneys, and we were laughing about we're playing Texas Hold'em, and it's technically illegal. It's just everybody thinks it's laughable, but the problem is they're just allowing it to take place because they're fearful that if they regulate it, that they think it would be encouraging to do it, and also this is still part of the Bible Belt.
No, they're not. They're afraid it'll take away from the lottery.
Yeah, and that. Well, encourage everybody to do it. Takes away that, and we're in the Bible Belt. They don't want to look politically. They don't want to make themselves politically a target.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I love it. But I go to Vegas quite often. And if
where do you stay in Vegas? Where's your spot?
All right, so this has changed recently, but
really?
Big shout out to Brandon at Circa. He's my host, but Circa's downtown. I used to always shun downtown Vegas. I'm gonna be honest with you, right? But Circa's come a long way. We own a sports book
Really?
in Colorado. We own Game Day, and we have clients that we contract with. So we did. I can't talk about the partnership yet, but we are in that business legally, but. We model all of our things. We were inspired by Circa, and so that's originally who we were trying to partner with. And so they really, really take care of me. So that's typically where I've been staying. Limos everywhere, the best rooms. They really take care of me. I love the environment. I know probably 90% of the the VIP dealers and floor hosts and all that. So they really take care of me. Prior to that, I used to do a lot at the Playboy Casino. It's called the Palms.
Oh, okay.
I used to do quite a bit at the Palms. And then, I hit all the spots. I'll hit Bellagio and all that, but I don't like – I prefer to play where it's not so crowded.
Oh, yeah.
If you go to the Bellagio, it's just constant foot traffic.
Mm-hmm.
So, while that's good for some people, for me, I'll sit and crank out 12 hours. I don't want all the distraction. But,
so you play in downtown Vegas then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And downtown Vegas
has
has got a lot more – you have a lot more locals that play there too.
Yeah,
and I like that. Now, some people don't like that, especially talking about Texas Hold'em. But I'll play with the locals, and then we'll go to games at other casinos that are all tourists.
Yeah, that's where you
for obvious reasons.
Yeah. You got to go get drunk tourists like me.
Yeah. Well, I got a feeling that with you, as you're into it, you're not the one I'm targeting. The one I'm targeting is the one that's got a high net worth, and they're going to buy in at a $1,000, $5,000, $10,000.
You need somebody with way more money than I. I'm very guarded when I'm at the poker table.
Somebody who's a little bit of a hobbyist.
No, that's and I'm not even talking about your net worth. I'm talking about the fact that you're passionate about it probably means that you're better than the lion's share of people in Vegas that are playing that are tourists. Mm-hmm. Right? So I'm looking for the guy that has some disposable income that does it as a hobby. Maybe he watches it some. He thinks he's better than what he really is. Yeah. Because I've logged, like you have, I'm sure, countless thousands of hours sitting looking at cards.
Yeah.
Right, and this guy's been doing it for 6 months or a year, and he's gotten, he wins the local game, and he thinks he's something, and he comes in and donks off, $10,000. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
So, but predominantly I play a ton of blackjack. If I'm not playing blackjack, I'll run Texas Hold'em, and I mean every once in a while I'll get a little itch for Omaha High Low or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But
you don't like craps or anything?
I'll play craps for fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's not math, but it is fun.
I feel like there's a little advantage you can take in roulette. Craps, I don't see for me, I've never seen the mathematical advantage. With roulette, I find
single zero roulette is more, right? More
either way.
Edge.
Well, you have a slight edge with single zero, but I think if you are not playing roulette for fun, you can definitely win at it. If you're willing to be the most boring person who's ever played roulette, you can bump your bankroll up pretty significantly by just watching trends.
I still remember that story you told me about a bet you placed on a roulette and you had to leave the casino.
I went for a walk. Yeah, so, dude, I went and did a weekend in Connecticut at Mohegan Sun, and they treat you really well when you're working comics there. It's amazing.
I want to do that so bad.
So I went and did it, and I had a great weekend. I think I made 4 times the amount of money gambling than I did doing the show. And
nice.
On the way back, I hit another casino because I felt good. And I walked in and I sat down at a roulette table, and I just sat in the middle. Everybody else is standing. And all I do is I make the minimum bet every hand, and I only bet on the colors and odds or evens. I just sit there and I do that. Min bet, until I see 5 or 6, a trend, 5 or 6 of the same color in a row, or 5 or 6 odds or even. And then I just start hammering the other one because I know that's coming soon. And then I just, I steadily increase my bet. It's not going to be 18 of those in a row. So as long as you can sustain. And so I had built the bankroll up so high, and I think I was at like, I think I sat with $200. I was a little over 2,000 at that point, which is amazing for me. There was a few months rent at the point. And it did go on a run where it was like 14 in a row. And I had to put everything I had or walk away. So I just put everything I had. I got a cigarette. I was like, I'll be back. I went for a walk, and I think I was gone for 3-4 minutes. And when I came back, the stack was up. It did hit. And it was just like, oh, boy, that was nice. Because that's my whole trip. If I walk back and that money's not sitting there, you know what I mean? But I tipped the dealer really well, and I was like, all right, you guys have a good night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there you go.
That's awesome.
So I'm not going to get into a statistics conversation, but I like technically that's not the way the math works, but I love the logic behind that, and I do the same thing. Technically, every time you spin is a new statistic.
It's
so
a 50-50.
the previous outcome has no statistical weight of the next outcome because it's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so knowing that, and we can go into this long thing, knowing that I still have the same thing you just did happen all the time where I'm like, there's no fucking way it's going to go 20 times in a row, right? It's due. So I do the same thing, bro. I do the same thing.
It's not that it's due. In a vacuum, it is 50-50, and I do understand that. But if I flip a coin 20 times, you can't tell me that one of those times ain't going to be heads.
No, you're
just rocking it.
Eventually it's going to happen, and I agree. And so that's part of the reason see, a lot of this comes down to when we're really looking at the math. Why does the casino always win?
Right.
Even when there's only like a half a point spread, right? Why do they always win, right? It should come my way sometimes. And the reason is you don't have the bankroll the casino has,
exactly.
Right? And the second thing is that they limit the max bet. Yep. So another angle to this would be, there are people that do this. I've done it for fun. But you have to ask the casino to raise the max bet, right, for it to work properly. But
for you,
for me, yeah. but imagine you made a bet of $100 the first time on, let's say, red, and it went black, and then the second time you bet $200 red, right?
I go 210.
Right, 210. Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So then you lose again. Yeah. Well, now I'm out of pocket $300. Now the third bet I have to bet $300. Yeah. All right. And if I lose, there you go. And if I lose that one, now collectively I'm out $600. Now my fifth bet's going to be the $600.
Yep.
And then if I lose that one, you have to add the sum of all the previous bets, and eventually you're going to hit. And then at that point,
see, that's you with hundreds. I'm finding $5 tables.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's so my fourth bet is $65.
There you go.
And my bankroll is $2,000.
It's a stressful thing to do.
Yeah.
However,
I always look at it
when you hit, you're like, yes, and then you realize unless you went on a run the other way, all you did was break even.
Right.
Now
you could double your bet each time, though. Double the amount you lost each time.
I go.
So like if you did,
you could.
I go a little.
It gets expensive quick. So I had this happen, and the table max was $5,000, and I had lost every single bet in a row, and the next bet required me to bet $8,000.
Right.
So I had to ask permission for them to raise the table max for an individual bet to $8,000, and then so I did the $8,000 bet, and I lost that one, and then I doubled it one more time.
No.
Well, not doubled it. I added all the subsequent ups. They, again, let me raise it. I hit. I broke even. And I was like, fuck me. Now, I've done it before.
But see, you should have went from 8,000 to 16,000, right?
Yeah, but you can't.
Yeah, well, no. Technically, the max bet for an individual on red or black is at that table is $5,000. Yeah.
But if they'd have raised it for you.
But if they would have raised it, yeah. So in theory, I could have just said, I'm due. I'm due.
It's due.
And I should have bet $50,000, right? Like you just don't know, right? But eventually, like that's the thing. That's why they put table maxes, right? And that's because eventually you would hit.
Yeah.
Right? Like every time I would just bet more and more.
I just always look at it.
You got to have a big enough bankroll too.
The bankroll size is huge, but I always just look at it as how much would I do a dumb job for right now? And that would be X amount an hour, right?
Right.
If I can come out of that table with $20 an hour ahead, I really feel like I win.
I like that. I mean, I do the same thing with blackjack.
Because I'm having fun.
You're having a good time. There's also a thing in life. Everybody says, I don't like the term gambling. right? There are definitely things that are straight gambling, right? The way that you do something makes a difference, and the intention makes a difference. But how about entertainment value? Like, how about I can sit at a table and play for whatever, 3 hours, 5 hours, 10 hours, 12 hours, and get entertainment and enjoyment and camaraderie, because there's a camaraderie that's at a table, right? You know that.
And
Blackjack and craps.
Yeah, 100%. All and Texas, all of it.
The biggest value at that table is not thinking about my day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or his fucking dad.
Yeah. getting out of my head and not worrying about Nick's dad is like super valuable to me.
Yeah, or his yoga poses he's going to do tomorrow night at the Idiot Box. But
it's funny that you say that, because actually my dad is a huge gambler. Like, that was the thing we did.
You guys just bet
together.
on the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah, we lost. Well, see, this is a funny thing. I'll bring this up. So we bet on the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
And it's rigged, of course.
It was clearly rigged. Flags out of nowhere. But so we both bet on the Bengals money line, right?
Right.
And the whole game, we're
explain that to people real quick. What's the money line?
So the money line is just a flat out win lose.
There you go.
We bet on the Bengals.
No
to win.
points. It's just I decide this one's going to win, and then there's a certain amount of money that one team's money line is better than the others.
Yep. So
yeah,
you
there's
bet
an
Bengals.
underdog and there's a favorite.
Right.
So the Bengals were the underdog. So it was a pretty good payout.
So plus 120, plus 140.
Not bad. But like you said, the entertainment value. Like,
Right.
I did lose $50, but that was essentially, I equated it to like a ticket to like really giving a fuck about the Super Bowl, you know?
Yeah.
Like, otherwise I would have just been like on my phone laughing at that one Larry David commercial and then like going to bed.
Yeah,
That
well,
is
50,
true. If
50
you-
Cent
you bet
upside
on
down was
something
kind of
on-
interesting. I don't know what the fuck he was doing, but
The what?
the 50 Cent upside down in the halftime show.
I don't know. Why
Well,
was
I don't
he upside
know.
down?
He was working out, baby.
Yeah. I would have liked it if he'd have done a
not
few more
seen the
sit-ups, like
original-
something.
He ain't got time to just hang out.
I like the idea that wasn't even planned. He was just like, I really want my head to look veiny. I gotta get up there, man. I want to
Isn't he
look
like
badass.
upside down in the original music video?
That's probably what it is.
Yeah, it's
No
possible.
pulse?
Yeah, I'm sure.
I
You know,
don't
there's
remember.
probably something that we need to check that. We can superimpose that here or somewhere. I don't know, but yeah, I agree. So entertainment value, like for me, there's also this, like if for maybe, and I hate to be this come off the wrong way, but let's say you're a woman and you value purses, or a man and you value purses, or wallets, or jewelry, or golf clubs, right? Like you're giving something in exchange for something that you perceive a value in, right?
Yeah.
I do the exact same thing. Maybe I go watch a Broadway play, right? Maybe Andrea Bocelli, the Bocelli concert was here recently. I went to that. I enjoyed it thoroughly. My seat was $2,000. I spent $8,000 for my seats for myself, my wife Jessica, and my mother and father to go. Right, that was $8,000, right, to watch a man.
Did you really do that?
I did.
Holy crap!
Yeah, and the whole point is not that I spent $8,000. The
Did it
point
make
is,
you cry?
yeah, but that's worse than gambling.
I would have needed to cry.
Yeah,
If I spent that much money on tickets to see Andrew, but I was like, this motherfucker better make me cry.
Actually, if I'm going to be completely honest, I've wanted a daughter, and I've got 3 amazing sons, so I don't take that for granted.
Yeah.
When Bocelli's daughter came out, she's 9 years old now, and when she sang, like I did, I had a little
Yes.
tear.
Good for you, man.
You know, because and it wasn't just her singing; it was the
Hey, you
relationship.
give me $8,000, I'll make you cry.
Yeah, fair enough. You know, but she, the relationship between her and her father, like,
Yeah.
you know, like that was like a really awesome.
That's really cool.
It seemed genuine. It was an awesome moment. I saw Bocelli in February of 2020, and they've not announced it, but I'm almost positive he had COVID. He had gotten sick. They had to reschedule the thing, and so we actually got to see him, and it was right before everything shut down.
Oh wow.
And it was just him, right? It wasn't him. And then I got the added benefit that Mateo, his son, and I got to see them sing some of my favorite Bocelli songs, and I mean literally ones that, and you know, there's a song "Fall on Me," so where Bocelli's playing piano, and Mateo's like 6, 7, 8 years old, and so it's as Mateo's growing, he's under the piano while his dad's playing. He's at events while his dad's singing, right? Like so, like there's a lot of emotion involved.
Yeah.
So I got to see that. I got to see the daughter, and then I'm not going to mention her name, but the lady sitting directly in front of me who I had conversation with turns out to be a billionaire. That
Oh wow.
yeah, literally, and she's the friend and family and benefactor of the Bocelli Foundation. So check out the Andrea Bocelli Foundation. And so Bocelli's daughter came out, and came in and sat and talked with her with security. And literally, I mean, I didn't. She's 9. I don't want to overwhelm her, but I mean, literally, she was as close to me as this bottle of water is, right? Like, so like it was really
You're not
awesome.
the most approachable guy.
No, man, I didn't want to scare her. Like, I'm like,
and you got tears in your eyes. You're like, hey, you did a great job up there.
Watch me do this yoga pose. But no, she, you know, I don't know, man. It was awesome. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. And you go, well, I exchanged something that I perceived a value in that other people think is crazy, but I got value out of it, right?
Well, people should be able to spend their money on whatever they want to do.
Right, and so that's the thing.
As long as it's not hurting anyone else.
Now, if I'd have taken that same money, whether it had been $800 or $8,000 or $80, and went and decided I wanted to put it on a football game, depending on what state you're in, that's illegal.
Which is insane.
Which makes no fucking sense,
Yeah.
man. I'm a grown-ass man. I'm going to do if I want to take my money outside and piss on it and set it on fire, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Well, if you do, just text me so I can bring the camera out.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I film that.
Yeah.
Well,
For the channel, baby.
for the channel,
yeah.
But I don't know. That kind of
Maybe
stuff.
replace it with some fake money.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll get the prop money.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll switch it out. You won't
Yeah.
even notice.
Do you think a video of you burning $1,000 could make more than $1,000?
Possibly. Yeah.
For sure. I mean,
That's interesting.
it's what Mr. Beast does.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. I don't know. It's very possible. But
I don't know. He cast me for a video,
Oh, yeah?
and then he canceled it last minute.
It's happened.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
so-
he saw your yoga video.
Yeah, that's what it was, dude. That fucking video.
You had, you wanted to, so Nikki Baby is interested in crypto a little bit. And I know
So-
we only have 10 minutes before you got to go.
Yeah, and I'll try to step back in if I can. But
Yeah, let's talk 10
Let
minutes
me-
about
What's
crypto.
your
So
question?
my dad has this.
Oh, look, the same one that you.
Yeah,
Correct.
fuck you, Dad.
Okay, yeah, okay,
He has this, these bots set up
okay.
that do micro exchanges.
Yep, very
with-
familiar with it. How much did he put into it? Start
I don't know.
$5,000, $10,000.
Something like that.
Yeah,
Maybe like $3,000.
they're doing it on the forex market.
Yes.
Okay.
And it's like printing money for him. And I said, Dad,
Yeah.
Dad, I would love to print some money. How do I do this? And he went, well, you know, you need money. And then that was kind of the end of the conversation.
Love the British answer there. You need money.
You're like, fuck you, Dad.
That should be an episode, by the way, on
Absolutely.
your podcast. So your question is how to do that?
Yes, yeah.
You need money.
God damn it, dude. That's always the barrier.
No,
man.
so really what he's doing is, and you can use bots and that's fine, but what he's doing is you're essentially looking at buying the same product on different markets, because just get on your phone and start looking. You're going to start to see some disparity between the price of one coin or one stock even, right? It's arbitrage, right? That's really what you're doing. It's stock or crypto arbitrage. And you're literally buying something because it, for whatever reason, on this site, right, it's a supply and demand thing. And in that moment, this site's price might have some disparity between this site's price, right? And that's what those bots are doing. They're trying to identify those disparities, and you can acquire something on one and sell on the other, and you the arbitrage is you're making the spread, right? So this is something that's as old as time. This is not a new thing, right? The bots are just a way to identify those things. Now,
Since cryptos are a little more
volatile,
it makes it easier too, right? Because they go up and down a lot.
it does. Now the problem is it also can work the opposite way, right? And you need a really, really fast, you need an awesome system, a really, really fast internet line, your T1 line. You're going to want something really quick, because speed execution is going to be key, right? Because it's so volatile, also things can drop really quickly too, right? So you need to be able to execute the trade very, very quickly. So can you do it? Absolutely. Most, and I'll try to send you, I hate to use the term reputable, I'll try to send you one or two after the podcast. I'll try to send you one or two. And normally they require like an initial. They say, hey, start it with $5,000. And there's a reason for that, because just like the market,
you need money.
You need something because you're really just processing a tremendous amount of transactions.
Trades.
And those trades, this one might net you 12 cents. This one might net you $3. Like, it's just over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, he shows me all the things. It's very cool.
Is there a different method that you would recommend for someone?
What's your budget? What can you afford to set on fire? Like, that sounds bad, but like if you lost it all, like
I understand I've asked myself that question. I ask myself that question every day, actually. Like, how much money can I light on fire today? Like $500 probably.
Yeah. So And what is it you hope the 500 to do? What's your dad's thing generating that you want? What does he get? What's X? Is he making $100 a day? Is he making 1,000? Wait, what's he making?
Yeah, probably about 75
What do
bucks
you
a day.
need to make a day? What would be?
I just want
fantastic?
something that I don't have to look at, and it's going to grow. A savings account right now is utterly useless.
A savings account is a negative return because of
My
inflation.
401k is trash.
Would you say stocks or crypto is the right way for him?
Crypto's probably the
I
easiest way to
believe
make
in
more
crypto
money.
more for some reason.
Lower amounts, right?
But
So, real quick, if
Yeah,
you
you have
think
4
about,
minutes.
let's say you had $1 million, and and you put it in the savings account, and they're paying you 0.5% or 1% or whatever, it doesn't matter, right? Or basically zero, which is what they're doing now. What people need to understand is they said the inflation last year was, let's say, approximately 7%. So what that really means is that if you're a millionaire, you 1 million even, you lost 70 grand last year because your buying power went down by 70,000. So your $1 million at the start of last year now has the buying power of 930,000. And then inflation this year further chips away at that. So when you get money in a checking account, a money market, a CD, using laddering strategies, or locking up in a savings account, what you really don't understand is that you're giving the bank your money, which they're able to lend at a multiple, 10 to 1, 9 to 1, 10 to 1, and you're getting many, many, many times a negative return on your money. You just don't even understand it. Like you think you're getting something, but you're not. You're not even outperforming inflation, right? So that's one. So those are terrible places to park
that's
money.
bad news.
Yeah, so put money there makes no sense. Temporary store value that's easily accessible, fine. Save your emergency fund there that you can easily get to. Otherwise, I think you need to be in things. And, the great thing about stock and cryptos is it's very liquid, right? Whereas if you start to invest in real assets, tangible assets, they require a little bit more effort to go in and out of those positions. Whereas stocks and crypto, you can trade in and out of them very quickly. So I think just getting started, that makes a lot of sense.
And they always trend upward too.
Over a long period of time.
Yes.
Yeah. Right now they're trending down. It's been all over the place, right?
Yeah.
So if it was me, I think if you feel passionate about crypto, then I would try to take positions in cryptos that you think are going to be. Think of crypto right now as the internet boom of the late 90s and early 2000s, boom and bust, right?
Yeah.
But from that, many of the companies that are worth hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars, came from that.
Yeah.
So I have no doubt that blockchain technology and some of these cryptos will survive. The problem is a lot of them are not going to.
Right.
Right.
Especially those meme coins. It's just like
unless they find the only way it works is if they find a utility for that coin, that specific coin.
Some websites using it or
and
gaming.
And there
I
are
think it's
some
going to
of
be
that.
big in gaming.
Yeah, I think so too.
Buy stuff in games.
Yeah,
You're going
but
to buy their coin. And
you're
then
going to want something proven and predictable and fast. So you start to think. So there's this thing China made their own coin, right? And that's a problem because now they can track every single dollar that's spent, right, by their citizens. So the U.S. is trying to. There's talks of, and they're presenting. They've presented a white paper on it, which means that's what they do anytime they're to do something. That's where it starts, and they're going to work towards regulation, which will take I would say 3 to 5 years. It is coming.
Yeah.
So the best thing you can do is if you can if you can pick the right one. Well, how do you do that? So I think if you can take an approach of what's a coin that offers utility, it's able to be used, it has a service, it has a value, right? And then I like things that have a definitive amount of supply, like we know how many there are, and it just can't be created into infinity, and that helps with the coin going up in value.
Yeah.
And then you just start to apply that, and then I would use a common sense thing, like when I hear people tell me that this coin is going to go to $1, and then do the math, take the number of coins that could be in circulation, times it by $1, and go, if this coin goes to $1, it's worth $500 trillion. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Right. And if it is going to be worth $500 trillion, at what point in the future would it have to be used? I think the global production, counting all debt and everything, is like $900 trillion. So that's all debt, all money, all everything. And a lot of that's fictitious, right? So, how does that happen with one coin that's a meme coin?
What happens if that does happen?
Well, yeah. And if it does, if that's true, you don't need to own much of it for you to have done decent, right?
Yeah.
I don't think that's the case, though.
No.
I'm also not smart enough to say it's not. So what I do is let's say that there's a coin that a meme coin or a thing, that I just in case I might take in your position, maybe you take a shot at it, and maybe that shot's you put $100 in this coin, put 100 on this one, and 100 on this one, and as you go, you acquire some of that. But if I were you, I would also take some long-term positions in ones you think provide utility and are probably going to stand the test of time.
I do have some reserve coin. Have you heard of reserve coin?
Yep.
I do have some of that because I thought it was a good coin that would provide utility.
Yeah, and that's the key. I mean, that nobody knows for sure, and you got to look at the thing that's going on right now. A lot of people are hyping coins up and doing rug pulls, and a lot of people that are doing it are selling off. And
right.
You got to be aware of that, because once that happens to a coin, it's very unlikely that those coins will ever get back to their, even if they had utility or the ability to come into something, they've kind of tarnished that coin.
Right.
So that it's just a rabbit hole. It's a big rabbit hole. So Dave Ramsey says something like, and many other people say this, and I don't follow his methods, but he says he wants to get rich for sure, right? Not maybe. And the problem with a lot of the crypto, if you think that's the future, right, is that you don't know which one's going to get you rich for sure. So if that's the mentality, I would say if you just feel passionate about crypto and it's the way of the future, then I would say find some way to make some type of prediction based on utility, and look at the people that run the organization, people that run the coin, people that are holding it. And I would look at things like that, like how long are coins actually being held.
You can make the same argument for stocks too, though.
100%.
I mean, nobody knew Google was going to be.
Absolutely.
That's
what I said. Like the
Most
90s
powerful company
and early 2000s, you didn't know what was going to come out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, my grandfather.
If you could have guessed Google when Google launched, you'd have killed it, right?
Yeah.
Tesla, you don't. That's the reality is you don't know
one.
what's going to happen, right? So, but you're smart enough to know you don't know.
Yeah.
So you just take some shots at things, right? And the more you dive in on one thing, the greater your return could be if you got it right. But statistically speaking, it's like taking your annual income and putting it on red.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Whereas the method I would like to say is, and different.
Let's say if you're placing or you're purchasing coins that are in metaverse technologies and stuff like that, it's probably a little safer.
Well, and if you could buy the coins, that's fine, but you could also buy stock in the companies that are launching that are backing these things, right?
Yeah.
That could be a good idea.
We got to get you out of here.
Yeah. So I love the conversation. I'd love to pick back up on it, but I think a conservative approach, and you have 500 right now, but as you get money, start expanding those positions.
Okay.
Stay away. Hype things are great. Just know when you need to sell.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say stay away from them and take long-term positions. The bots thing is it does work. It's
just really appealing because I just see them.
It also cannot work
chilling.
too.
Yeah.
I've seen people that have it's went the other way, right? Because a quick fall, and as you take larger positions, you can lose a lot more quicker.
Yeah.
Right. So a quick fall that you can't get out of, and those bots are not designed to hold hold positions.
Yeah. It's just quick trades like
right.
that. Right.
So it can lose. Right. So that's the other thing. But anyway, I'm gonna step out.
I'll have to go home and remind him that. Be like, you can lose, right?
Yeah. I know people that are doing that with a much larger amount, right? And I've seen negative days.
Surely you can teach them to hold, though, right? To hold a position.
Yeah,
It is AI.
But also, I mean, it's bankroll management too, right? Like if whatever he has in there, I'm positive ain't 100% of his thing. With you, it'd be 100% of your shit. So
$500.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the house, dude. That's the fucking house.
Yeah.
Well, take positions. If you look at most of the wealth managers, they're going to tell you to do buckets, right? Like you're going to have. If you feel strongly that technology is going to be the way of the future, then maybe you put 30 or 40. Maybe you do go heavy in that bucket, and you own 30 or 40% of your positions, crypto included. Mm-hmm. Would come into that 30 or 40% in technology-based companies, right, or crypto, and then maybe you do some in other things, which are actual resources or real estate, right? You just start to break it up into buckets. And that way you don't have all of your proverbial eggs in one basket, right?
Yeah.
And if you take a long – I still also believe it's very hard to time things. There's a thing called dollar cost averaging. If you just pick an amount that you can live with every week and you put it into the market or into crypto every single week, no matter what, whether it's up, whether it's down, and you do it, you'll come up with an average cost. And you're going to buy someone that's really cheap and you're going to buy someone that's really expensive, right? But days in the market is more important than timing the market, right?
Okay.
And I think that's another thing that people overlook.
Long term.
Can you give me 1 minute explaining dollar cost averaging?
So, really quick. So, my version of what dollar cost averaging means to you or me is I'm buying every week, right? So, in just the last 2 or 3 months, whether you're in stock or crypto, you've seen huge drops, right? Tesla, which they thought was getting ready to split and going to 1,400, 1,500, getting ready to split again and do a stock split, is currently, as the last time I looked at, was trading in the upper 800s, low 900s, right? It even had went down. There's a lot of factors that caused it to go down. Well, I bought because I buy every week, I bought Tesla at 1,100. I bought it at 1,200. I bought it at 1,300. I also am buying it at, I think I've got recent purchases at 890.
Okay.
Right. Now, the thing is that the week that I bought, I could take the perspective that the week that I bought at, say, $1,200 that I overpaid. But I've also got weeks that I've bought at, say, $900, right? And so if you take, let's just, for simple math, let's say I bought 1,000 shares at $1,000 and I bought the second 1,000 shares at $900, my dollar cost average is $950 a share. So as a stock or crypto falls, my average cost of my portfolio also goes down. My price per share also goes down, which means you actually start to make money faster, right? Because you didn't just buy at 1,000 and then stay out of the market for a year until it passed 1,000.
Yeah.
Right? It's like when the market's falling, everybody typically does the opposite of what they should do. They stop buying.
Yeah.
Right? If everything goes on sale, now's the time to buy.
Exactly.
Right? And if
Buy
I
a bit.
feel confident, I'm going to keep up with my dollar cost average method, which means I'm weekly, and regardless of what position the market's in, I'm putting money in the market. Right? And if it falls, I'm actually digging deeper. I'm trying. Like if I feel really strongly that the market is devalued right now, it's oversold, then I'm trying, even though I'm doing it weekly, I'm trying to do the most I can. Is there any other liquid cash I can get a hold of? Because it's important to buy at that lower price point. And if it drops again, it's kind of like catching a falling knife. It's dangerous, right? But if you feel that that's a long-term position, a long-term stock, a long-term crypto that's going to provide utility in the future, and you think that company's going to be around, everything's on sale, right? And if you're in the construction business and all the lumber goes on sale, you don't get out of the construction business. You go buy lumber while it's on sale because you build houses, right? So like that's the mentality for me. It's like just make a decision that this is something that's going to be a part of your life, whether it's crypto or stock or all the above, and you just commit to something and stick to that and have regular reoccurring purchases taking place. If it's once a week, twice a week, once a month, whatever it is.
Gotcha.
Up, down, or in between. And days in the market, man. Do the research. Like if you try to time the market and you miss, and there's lots of videos on this on YouTube, and you miss one or two of the best trading days, it can ruin your entire return for a year, right? Like literally, you can take people that have made 35% in a year, and if they'd have missed one or two trading days, they made zero, right? Wow. So that's the point is you just don't know when it's going to happen, right? So if you just take the position of you're always going to be in the market, and it does trend upward over time, over longer periods of time, that's very hard to lose.
And then your average does go down because you're doing it every day.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
If you do it daily, it's fine, or weekly, but because you're buying, and if the market drops, your average cost of whatever coin or crypto or whatever you have or share also drops.
Yeah.
Right? So you're just lowering your average purchase price.
Yep.
So that's the way I look at that.
I didn't know you could use a podcast to learn things. I was just scream at my dad. I complain about my father. And then I'm like, I'm learning how to manage money right now.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
Right. I love the money part.
I wanted to ask you, what was your childhood like? What got you into comedy?
So I had a fairly fun childhood. I always had a good group of friends that I still have to this day, which I found out isn't very common.
It's not. I have a lot of friends from my childhood too, but it is unusual. Yeah,
people that don't do that a lot. So, because I've been friends with these guys since we were like 5, 6. Yeah. So it's not like we chose each other. It's kind of that way.
It's cool though.
It is very cool. Like
they're almost like family.
They are. They are at some points in my life. They feel more like family than your family. But
Sure.
I had a good time. I grew up in Plymouth, Minnesota, which was like rated. It was like in some magazine. It was like rated in the top 10 places to live in the country. Like it's one of these it's a very, very nice suburb in Minnesota.
American Dream suburb.
Yeah, that kind of place. I grew up right next to my middle school. I scootered there.
Oh, that's cool.
So I think, but weirdly enough, I think what drew me to comedy was my dad, because he respected comedians so much. He would watch comedy sometimes with me as a kid, and he would always comment about he's genius, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He loved Richard Pryor and Dave Chappelle, and we actually watched we still talk about it because he likes Joe Rogan's very first special, Joe Rogan Live.
Yeah.
It's a great comedy special. He does that really funny bit about the pyramids.
Yeah. I've heard it. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. We died laughing at that, and the joke about how we're using the wrong troops. We should use the dudes at Ted Nugent concerts and rack them up with nets, and they'd be on the Euphrates and bass fishing boats. I remember him like dying laughing at that kind of stuff. So I think I like memorized all of Killing Them Softly, Dave Chappelle's first special, when I was in. I think I was in like 8th grade, 9th grade.
Crazy,
I listened to that every day.
So you were already learning timing and stuff in school.
And I would not those jokes specifically, but I would do like bits to my friends all the time that were like stand-up things that I'd watched. I'd just do them over again.
Yeah.
Which is not the best, but as a kid,
though,
you don't think like it, obviously. But I remember the first time that I realized that I really liked getting laughs was I know I'm jumping around here.
That's fine.
5th grade, so I was like 12. I got a part in the school play, and it was the caterpillar in Alice in Wonderland.
Oh yeah.
And so the lines are pretty basic. Like I didn't get any laughs on the lines, but I learned that if because I was supposed to like creep behind Alice, and I made a artistic choice that I was going to slither instead of like walk behind her. So I would do these like dramatic slaps with my hands and then like scooch myself forward like a caterpillar would.
Yeah.
And people would like chuckle during rehearsal or whatever, but I was like, this is like fun to do. But when I did it at the kids show, it was just like, wow, like it got a huge laugh.
That's cool.
And I was like, whoa, this is fucking awesome. And then I thought, I was like contemplating whether to do it at the parent show, because I was like, oh, it's the parent show, you know, it's all the big deal. That's the big show of the night, you know. And then I was like, again, I took the risk.
Yeah.
I made the artistic choice. I was like, no, I gotta slither. And I did it at the adult show, and it killed even harder at the adult show because they're watching, you know, this kid like slither on a cafeteria floor.
That's cool.
And then but you don't think of that as like, I wish I would have. I wish at 12 or whatever, I would have been like, oh, I should do stand-up comedy. That never crossed my mind until I was like a freshman in college, and I was just like smoking weed all day, and I was like, okay, school sucks. I know I don't want to do that because I was just so burnt out on school. It just wasn't, I was so ready. I should have been one of those kids who like took a break.
Yeah.
That's really what I should have done, because I was so like I wanted to find something else, you know, and
figure out what you wanted to do.
What I wanted to do.
Yeah.
That was the point of college.
Right.
And for the classes was not doing that. Pretending to be, I remember my my big fuck up was I was in business school. Well, trying to get into business school as a freshman. And they had this big dinner, and you were supposed to like get a tux. It was supposed to like teach you how to network. Super easy. It's just with other classmates.
Right.
You just have to show up basically in a tux or whatever. I completely just forgot until like the last minute. My friend was like, hey, you going to the grand dinner tonight? And I was like, oh, fuck, that's like a huge thing, right? And he's like, yeah, it's like 80% of the grade. And I was like fried out of my mind. And I grabbed my friend's buddy's tux because he like did it that a night before. So he's like, you can use my tux. Of course, it's like gigantic. And I'm like way too stoned to be anywhere in public. And I'm at this grand dinner, like like drooling on my food, sweating. And then you were supposed to like do a report or something like that, and any of that, none of that got turned in. So my teacher at the end of the semester was like, Nick, you didn't turn in your grand dinner paper. You didn't present anything at the table. I heard people at your table said you only said 2 words, and it was "help me." So what was going on? And then I was just that's when I left school, because they were college. Yeah. because I was just like, I don't want to be doing this. But
What'd your parents think
of me not going to school,
when you decided you were going to drop out?
they weren't thrilled. They made me move to North Carolina, and I had been on stage twice when I was a freshman. Once went really well. My very first time went pretty well, and then the second time I invited everybody I knew to
Because
come.
you did so well the first
Yeah,
time.
I was like, I'm like what my dad said. I'm a fucking genius. Everybody should come see this shit. And then I, of course, bombed horrifically. I grossed out a ton of like the friends who were girls because I was like talking about my dick and my gross farts and stuff. And they were like, I heard like several people go, oh, ew. And I was like, oh, those are my friends too. I'm grossing out my friends.
Yeah.
So that kind of scarred me. So I was like, whatever. And then I was like a dickhead of a kid to my parents because they moved to North Carolina. My dad got a new job, and I was so pissed off at that. I was like, I'm gonna stay here, and I'm gonna drop out of school. And then they were like, well, you can do that, but you're on your own then. Kind of like we're not gonna pay your rent. We're not gonna pay your car insurance. We're not gonna do any of that.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that's fine. I'll work at the pizza place, and I'll sleep in my car. And I did that for a summer, and it was pretty terrible. I slept mostly on my friends' couches, but occasionally I was just so up my own ass. I was a stupid kid, and I realized I had a coming to moment where I was like, I need to just go to North Carolina. I'll go back to school, and I realized I was like, I won't know anybody, so that fear of grossing people out or whatever, that's going away. I won't know anybody.
Right. Yeah.
I'll do comedy. I'll go to Greensboro and I'll do comedy.
Restabilize your life.
Yeah. Which is crazy to think that I was like, I'm going to get my life on track. I'm going to go to open mics. Like now that sounds so insane to me, but
Well, you wanted to do comedy, so that's
makes
sense.
And I was like, I'm actually going to focus on this, and I'm going to make it my thing, and I'm going to get good at it.
Most people that become really successful at anything they don't pick normal paths. They always do the stuff that they're encouraged not to do.
I had to do that
take
first.
Big risks, big chances. You have to. I mean, if you just follow all the rules and do what people expect you to do, you'll probably never be really exceptionally successful.
No, I would have got a business management degree from North Dakota State, and then I would have probably been like at an Applebee's right now, being a general manager. Like if I just followed the track that was set for me, I mean. Maybe better restaurant than Applebee's. Maybe like a nice corporate steakhouse or something. But I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now, and I get to meet cool fucking people who I'd never thought I'd ever get to work with ever. So I've had it's been a wild ride for sure. But I mean, Trundy remembers the first day I came, because I Googled all this shit because I knew my parents lived in Greensboro, so it was like Greensboro Comedy Club. Okay, it's called the Idiot Box. And my parents were like, yeah, they've got a comedy club here. You can go tell jokes. So the first night I went there, I think Eric was the first guy. He was out there because it was still locked. The door was still locked. And then I asked him like a trillion questions about what to do, where to go, and he was the nicest dude. I mean, without you, if you had been a dick like you were like the rest of the time that I've known you, if you would have been a dick that day, I wouldn't have done anything, dude. So I do owe it all to Trundy. I'm one of his.
One of my comedy kids.
Yeah, one of his kids.
I owe it all to him too. I mean, if the pandemic hadn't happened, I wouldn't be where I'm at today in comedy.
That's crazy.
So then we owe it to a pangolin.
Yes. Thank you, COVID.
Yeah.
No, I think it's just one of those things where you pay it forward, right? Like if it wasn't for Evan Williams or Steve Lesser or Jordan Fisher, I wouldn't have kept going. And the three of them for different reasons, right? Like Evan was the first guy I saw, so that gave me somebody to do it with, like stop. And then seeing Jordan Fisher be really funny that evening, I was like, oh, so there are really funny people that do this. And then also, a bunch of bad people, I owed it to them because you see the bad ones and you're like, oh, shit, I can do that.
Yes.
I can't do what Jordan's doing, but that's possible here.
Yeah.
And what I can do is better than these fucks. And then on the way out, Steve Lesser just being like, yeah, come back. It's a big deal. And so that's why when I was running the club and you were coming out, one of the things that was most important to me was making sure that if it was your first time, we kind of assigned somebody to you. Dusty took on a lot of that role because Dusty Cagle, when he came in, he was uncomfortable, and I helped him, and JD did a lot of that.
Yes,
and
I owe it a lot to him too as well.
There's a spot for people in clubs that are, the amount of times I can't imagine how many funny people we lost because they showed up to an open mic. A bunch of savages who are good at being savages were savages and sent people away, and they never came back. So if I was a dick, you wouldn't have came back, and if I was a dick, you would have found somewhere else to go because you're.
I'd have came back anyways. I'm stubborn. But.
Yeah. But I mean that stuff does make a difference, man. And so it's not me specifically. It's the culture that Jenny and Steve and I decided we needed to have to. They don't make money. They like building community. Yeah.
It is really good, but it also sucks because then you get kids who think, I'm going to move away, and every comedy club is as good as this one.
Well, that's what I told you guys. I every one of these fucking kids, I tell them all the time, I'm like, please go anywhere else. And that's why it's important when you come back, and Maddie and Kenyon and everybody, because the situation we have here is rare. There are not a lot of these throughout the country. I've been throughout the country and done open mics in a lot of places, and I love a lot of comedy scenes. But this one is good for a bunch of different reasons, and the people who stay here do take it for granted. And I've been here, the longest, you know what I mean, without moving away or going anywhere. And I know how lucky we are because I've been other places. I know how difficult it is and how standoffish people can be and how defensive people can be. And that only happens because that's how they were treated. And so eventually you got to break that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like I would see funny people come in and then never see them again, and it bothers me. And so I just try to make sure that if I think you're good enough, I just spend a couple extra minutes with you. Just I give the same favors that were given to me. You know.
Well, that's important. So, if you're out there running a comedy club in a small town trying to cultivate the scene, you have the opportunity to do something really special.
Yeah.
And break that cycle, and you can nurture. You really can nurture talent.
Yeah.
So,
and there's good and bad.
I'm not calling myself talented that has been nurtured, but I've seen it.
No, you are talent that has been nurtured. Well, you know what I mean. You are funny. You're opening for Dan Soder at Good Nights, which is an amazing club. And you don't get that by not being talented. That doesn't happen just because you did it. It happens because you do it constantly. You work on it. You grow. You're self-critical, and you're motivated to do it. Those things don't happen. There's no luck in comedy.
Well, that's what we were talking about earlier too with the networking thing. You have to network with people, but at the same time, when you're networking with people, if you get an opportunity, you have to have the ability to take advantage of that opportunity.
Oh, absolutely.
Because if you do a poor job, if you get an opportunity, someone gives you an opportunity and you mess it up, you may not get it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When is the weekend at Good Nights with Dan Soder?
That is the end of this month. So February 27th, 26th, and 25th, I believe. Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Very cool.
He's the nicest. I mean, he's the best. Again, we talked about that earlier in this podcast. The first step thing was to get him on my podcast, which he graciously did, and then we kicked it off and had a good conversation again. And he was like, "Oh, I'll give you another date when I'm back in Raleigh."
It's incredible.
So it's like that. You just have to take that first that first step, and if they say no, who cares? That was the answer before I asked anyway.
Right. And if they said no, maybe you're not ready.
Exactly.
Yeah. And also, there's a way to ask and a way not to ask. You know what I mean? I'm sure Dan gets asked all the time to work with, and the way that they ask says something, and without being pushy, and also earning it. There's, I know I have a specifically difficult time asking people to do things or asking people to give me things, and I don't think I've ever asked a headliner to bring me on the road with them, but I just I treat them the way I think I would want to be treated, and it ends up coming back. And I think that's just how you build relationships organically,
Yeah.
Well, also, you didn't ask, right? He offered.
It was
Was it?
it was a little bit of back. It was a little bit back for. I asked him about if he was coming around the Midwest.
Yeah, so
Like-
you hinted.
I hinted,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a game of cat and mouse, you know.
Yeah.
But he was. I mean, he also he went out of his way to do it. Like he told his agent about me because I was like, I don't know if I can get in contact with Goodnights, that kind of thing. He took care of it. So
That's cool.
yeah, he's the best.
So do you have an agent now?
No.
Okay.
I don't-
Are you trying to get an agent? You should.
I don't think I have enough that I can't handle it at this moment, but an agent would help me
What'll get you work though?
get work. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean that's really what I'm at the crux of because I can feel myself getting better when I get opportunities to do longer sets, and that's in Chicago. That takes years of getting around and knowing people and that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
I always feel so good when I get out of town to do spots. It's just
Right.
I feel like there's less pressure and I can just go up there and goof around, which is the best zone to be in when you're on stage. When you're going up there and you go, let's just goof around. I have my material that I can rattle off if I need to,
Yeah.
and let's have fun. That's when I do really well. Not when I'm like, oh, so and so's back there. Okay, I gotta do the bits so that I can get booked here, so that it all fucks me up. Like
Right,
I
yeah.
can't be, and then and then when you're doing the bits like that, they're good enough where it's like you're doing okay, but okay isn't, you know what I mean? That's not good enough. You got to do better than okay, and okay is the worst. I'd rather bomb. I'd rather eat my dick off because then I'm like, okay, new day tomorrow, let's do it. Than do okay, because that's I don't know. That's the worst feeling I think is when you get like okay laughs throughout, and you get off stage and then like 3 people are clapping, and you're like, well, I didn't bomb. I'd rather go up there again and just be like, you guys hate me, spiral, bomb. Now it's a bomb, you know? I hate the okay.
Are you a big fan of Andrew Schultz and those guys?
Yeah, I've never seen him live. I like watching his clips and stuff.
I know they do a lot of crowd work. And,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just starting to nibble into crowd work. It was scary at first, but I realized that well, good crowd work is still hard to do.
Oh, I'm sure.
But
yeah.
like I can find ways now to just like it's really easy to just get a laugh and get the fuck out of there. That's how I see it is like
yeah.
I see crowd work as like jumping into a pool, and like I'm finding better ways now to just like, okay, I can get out of here and just get into material.
Yeah.
Because I used to be so scared of it because I used to try to like, it almost became an interrogation until I could get a laugh.
Right.
And then they're like, why are you still talking to me? Like, why are you getting me involved in your bomb?
Yeah, you have to have somewhere to go. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But I do like, I like those crowd work clips on Reels. Those are always fun.
Yeah, they're cool.
Yeah.
So what's next for you? What do you have? I know you've got the show in February.
Yep. And then I've got, this is kind of a climax of, if I was to make a movie about my comedy career, I guess this would kind of be the climax in March, because I'm going back to Minneapolis. I'm hosting for Paul Hooper,
Oh, yeah.
who I
okay.
think
I've
you've had
heard
on the
of
show.
him. No.
No, he hasn't been on the show
hasn't been
yet,
on
but
the
he
show?
will eventually. Yeah, I've traveled with Paul. He's one of my favorites.
He's a Charlotte guy. He's very
coming
nice.
through. He's coming through
Next
Greensboro
month, right?
at the Idiot Box in April.
April.
Oh, okay. Oh, very cool. That's right after
I'll
that.
feature for him there.
Oh, right on. There you go.
Yeah. Well, you come through and you can feature.
No, you feature. I don't want. I'm not gonna take your spot.
Oh, you couldn't take my spot. I'll give it to you.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll give it to you. though.
Also, that sounds like a fucking awesome show. Anyway.
Yeah, Paul was the first time I saw Paul. I didn't really know who he was. I had heard some stories because apparently, when we both were drinking, we had some similarities. We both tried to pull our dicks out at the Comedy Zone, but the first time I'd ever seen him, he was opening for Bill Burr at
Oh, wow.
the Charlotte Comedy Zone, and he hit so well and was talking about things that I was specifically trying to talk about, and I just couldn't quite figure out how to do it. And watching him, the way I say it is like, probably sounds like I'm talking like, oh, I saw him could do it. It made me think I could do it. It's not that it was so easy. It was just like it inspired me to want to do it.
Yeah.
So he's one of my absolute favorites. Yeah.
He was on my podcast when he was in Chicago.
Yeah.
I sent him a message, and he heard that I was from Minneapolis, and I was like, I've always wanted to do like some real shows there. And he was like, oh, I'm at Sisyphus in March. I'll come host for me. And it was that easy. I was like, fuck yeah. And then a bunch of people from high school hit me up on Instagram and were like, oh, we're coming to that show. And then there's like my girlfriend's family and my friends' families. Like, it's going to be a lot of Cartwright people. It's going to be a lot of my people in there.
Your
so
circle,
yeah, it's going to be a sink or swim set, but I think I'm going to have fun with it. I've had several thoughts of like, specifically, my girlfriend's dad is definitely going to be at one of the shows, and I almost want to. He would hate it if I did it, but I almost want to just like point him out and goof around because I feel like if I get everybody in on that tension, I think that could be really special, or it could be a total fucking disaster.
Yeah, it could be horrible.
Yeah. But I think that's why I think I got to start taking those kind of risks because then it's that payoff is so sweet.
Yeah.
And you know, if I bomb and I go, that's my girlfriend's dad over there. I think that's funny, dude.
Yeah, it would be fun.
Trundy's looking at me and like, no, it won't. You're gonna lose her.
I respect all your choices, man.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm not a big fan of plans when it comes to shows. I like ideas, so I would keep that as an idea and just feel the energy of the room.
Yeah, you're right. It's a game time decision for sure.
Game time decision, right? It's like have the trick play in the on your little wristband.
Yeah.
And then
it's for sure a trick play too.
Yeah, decide if you need the Philadelphia special that night. You know what I mean?
It's the back of the playbook.
Yeah.
The agent thing, I could see you doing some guest spots on some TV shows and stuff too, which will probably help you.
I'm fucking good at acting, dude.
Yeah. Are you good at acting?
I am, dude. I mean,
Caterpillar, man.
the Caterpillar. My portfolio isn't great because the sketches that I was in, those aren't good. But I can act, dude. I'm good. I'm good at specific things.
The biggest thing is as long as you're comfortable.
Give me a monologue right now. Go ahead.
You want a monologue?
From your favorite movie. Go ahead.
Okay. Oh shoot, what is he doing? I'm trying to think of it. Hold on.
What are you talking about? Which one?
I want it's Jack Black, it's School of Rock.
Okay.
And he's going okay, this is his monologue. Right? He goes I can't do that. Hold on.
You can do it.
Hold on. No, I'll get it. Okay. So he's in front of the class, right? And they're like, sing this. Okay, he's like
And action.
I got a song. What? All you guys want to hear a song? We want to hear a song? Okay, I got a song. In the end of time, there was a man who stood the way, and the pressure of the rent. I can't remember the song. But it sounds. I did the first part is really good.
That's how we'll start the podcast.
That's good, yeah. Well, dude, it's been a pleasure having you on. How can people follow you on social media?
At Nik Cartwright Comedy on Instagram. That's NIK Cartwright Comedy.
Link in the description.
In the description. Fuck You Dad podcast. Anywhere you listen to podcasts. Our YouTube channel would be a huge help, though. Boost that puppy up. We're at like 250 subs, which is I love our subscribers, but I would love to see that beautiful 500.
Here's how you look at that. That's 200. That's like a 250 person audience every time you show up to that show.
Yeah, dude.
It's great. You know what I mean? What about talk about your Patreon really quickly?
Oh, the Fuck You Dad Patreon. Hop on patreon.com, FU Dad Podcast. Me and Kenyon, after our episodes each week, we have another beer, and talk wild shit
And
for only.
you do that with your guests as well, right?
Yeah, sometimes the guests, if they're cool, you know.
I mean, there's one with me on there, isn't there?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
we
have
got-
2 on our Patreon. That's how cool you are, dude.
Yeah, I don't even have a regular.
You're
episode.
too hot for the regular pod,
The
man.
shit I talk about, they can't have on the regular podcast. So, and it's $3 a month, and you get that, right?
Yeah, $3 a month. You get to join our little community. $10 a month, you can get some merch. If you pay us, get this. If you pay us $100 a month, we go to wherever you are and we record an episode with you and we talk to your dad.
There you go.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Only $100 a month too. That's only like $1,200 a year.
It's
That's
not
it.
bad.
Yeah, that's a good investment.
Right.
The creative businessmen say that the Fuck You Dad Patreon is a good investment. I have the
Absolutely.
yes on record. I want that for our reels. I want him saying that. Thank you again for having
think
me,
it's a
too.
good investment.
Yeah, there you go. I'm not a financial advisor.
Oh yeah, it's been a pleasure, man.
Thank
Well.
you. Thank you. It's been so much fun. I had a blast.
We'll have you back.
Absolutely. Yep. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.